my history was corporate, developing Eurocamp, tour operator through a management buyout and a flotation. And then I moved to help develop the launch of the Royal Armouries Museum in Leeds. So a similar but different type of thing. And then after that, I just decided I'd done probably 20 years as a sort of corporate person, albeit a corporate entrepreneur, which was pretty exciting. And I just wanted to try doing lots of different things. Coincidentally, at the time, I also had a young daughter, and I thought it would be quite useful to be able to perhaps work a little bit more from home, even though the reality was that I was probably away from home more than I had been previously. So what I decided to do after a few years at the Armouries and deciding all I was going to end up doing was doing the same thing year after year, was to say I'm going to become a consultant. I knew a lot of people in the industries, and therefore I thought I would have a ready-made market, which wasn't necessarily the case. I'd also done a lot of guest lecturing, being asked to just go into universities and sort of, if you like, talk about things I'd done. And that was quite interesting as well. So I decided to go off and do those, but of course it wasn't that simple. I think if you really want to go out and create a portfolio like this, you need to have a little bit of security behind you, because if from day one you're really scared about how you're going to pay the bills, then you'll be driven by fear, and the next thing you'll do is the minute the new corporate job comes along and is advertised, you'll go straight after it and go straight back. Okay, so I think the first thing you need to just ask yourself, can I afford to be a portfolio person? Because if you can't afford to be a portfolio person, you just worry about it all the time. So I think that's the first thing you need to do. So if I look at the two elements of my portfolio career, first one, consultancy. I was always been lucky in that I have a fairly big network of contacts. And when I said I was going to be going off on my own and so on, a lot of companies within service industries, especially within tourism, said, yeah, could you do this for me and that for me? What's interesting, though, about that is that's great to start off with. But once you've done the sort of the round of the people you know, and you've done a project for them or a couple of projects for them, they don't necessarily need you to do anything else. That's not because you've done a bad project. It's because you've done things that they asked you for. Then the hard part comes, and that is, well, how do I get people I've never known to actually want to take me on? Because to begin with, you build that bit of a portfolio in terms of consultancy because people know you. Therefore, they know what you do, and they say to you, we'd really like your experience. But after that, it's just full of people who've never heard of you. So then it's about really leveraging your network. It's then about thinking, what is it you do that is a bit different or a bit special? Because everybody can be a consultant in some way or another. And then essentially having the confidence to try and get yourself onto maybe a speaking circuit, trying to promote yourself, trying to find angles that make you a bit different. So from my perspective, the angle that makes me a bit different is that I'm very, very good at developing strategies for organizations, using the directors and senior managers of those organizations to develop their own strategies. I actually become a part facilitator, but a very big educator at the same time. And I say to the clients in many cases, the success of what I do could be that you don't actually ask me back because you know how to do it yourself. That's quite unusual, and many consultants would say that's a ridiculous thing to do, because surely the whole purpose of being a consultant is to make people dependent on you. But it depends on your philosophy. So that, in terms of consultancy, how I focus. And at the same time, I've tried to use social media quite effectively, not to become a nuisance. So to be honest, I don't tweet that much because everybody does it. And I don't blog every week because it just bores people. But I do blog maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe a couple of times a month. And people actually look forward to reading what I have to say. So therefore, it's all about you putting the effort in, making yourself different, and having a bit of staying power.